Welcome to the DevReady podcast, where we're helping non-techs build great tech. Today, I'm joined by Rahul. He's I'll call him the CEO and co-founder of Pactify. They're assisting talent managers, support them in the process of how they can support their creators and get more deals and make it a bit more efficient for them with the CRM process. Rahul, thank you for joining us. And I forgot to mention, I've got to mention one thing. This is the first for the DevReady podcast. A Cambridge dropout effectively has gone all in on his startup. So congrats, 23. Very raw early, but yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey to date. And why have you gone down this path? The crazy person that is joining us today.
I appreciate it, Andrew. Thanks for having me on. Uh, I'm yet to print a T-shirt that says Cambridge dropout at the back, but
I think surely you can buy one
I,
somewhere.
I, I think I have
Look at
to.
the Amazon order.
I mean, nowadays it's pretty common. Um, I think it's a little more common with technical founders, these like software engineers who kind of build this great idea in their dorm rooms and then come out with it. But I'm a little different as a commercial founder, but I think I'd had enough of Cambridge. We can get into that, but yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's been a pretty interesting ride the past couple of months, and um, I think there are so many problems that I'm attacking, and it's just been my job to really whittle it down, understand like where the problems lie, and we landed on talent managers. It's a space where I've grown really conscious of their role in the creator economy. I think I've had maybe 50 or 60 conversations with talent managers, and just kind of hearing from them the role they play in terms of empowering creators, managing what is really the bulk of the influencer marketing industry is pretty awesome. And then like also hearing that they just don't have real processes. They're kind of running in the whole like movie agents who get these like two, three deals a year. And what we're seeing is that a social media creator, even with 100,000 followers, is doing five or six deals a year, and they can take up to 3 months just to finalize. So, for a talent manager managing 30 creators, which are essentially 30 businesses, what are their processes? And that's where we come in. That's where we want to come in anyway.
Yeah, I get it. We spoke about it a little bit off air. It might not be sexy, but if there's a core problem to solve, it's a great place to go after. Sometimes the sexy businesses draw a lot of competition. Sometimes we need to look at where are the real problems in the space. Creator economy's blown up significantly, right? So it's one of the facts of having new technology, we create new industries, and it's definitely one of those. So I don't imagine there's going to be a great process behind this. There's not history of how we do things, so it's going to be raw. It's going to be people that are bringing insights from other areas into a new industry, and that's really what it would be. Then most of those are probably paper and pen and having a black book of who I contact. So I imagine a lot of that would happen in this space.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, you can translate it to many industries, right? Like that initial massive growth. We can, as recently as Web3, where it's like everyone's like, "Oh my God, I can make money off this, awesome!" And then the dip comes, and now you start to realize, hey, like, is the infrastructure we've built, are the procedures actually good? And what happens is like when you don't have these procedures, the big players, the ones with a lot of money, kind of can take advantage of it, and that's what we've seen. And I think that's kind of why Pactify started, like where it's such a good time in the creator economy, where we've gone through that initial growth, and from a creator's perspective, it used to be, oh, someone's paying me to do this post, awesome, I'll do it, to now, hey, I actually have quite a bit of value for this company. I reach their niche really well, and I can really help this brand. I deserve to be paid in whichever way possible, and I deserve to maintain ownership of the IP that I'm posting. Like there's just so many technicalities that are now coming up, and I think that's the place we're really well served for.
Let's go back a little bit. You mentioned IP ownership. Your obviously background experience is in IP ownership. I think that's where you were in Cambridge studying quite a bit of this. Tell us a little bit that and what are some of the challenges in the space. Then we'll talk a bit about how you got into Antler, because obviously this concept has been born and evolved over time. I'd like to hear about the journey. So first, IP ownership. What does that look like? What are some of the challenges that you've seen?
Yeah, so it was actually my second year of uni. Um, I randomly, through a friend, met the CEO of the Smiley Company, a guy called Nicholas Lafrani, whose father
Yep.
trademarked the smiley face. Um, I had no idea what the Smiley Company was, and
I don't know what the Smiley Company is. So, and
it's
probably a lot of people listening don't know either,
I,
but
I
you mean,
was
yeah.
I was shocked. It's a $500 million company that owns the trademark, the IP of the smiley face. So that
Okay.
yellow face with two eyes and a smile.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
is
Okay.
something they own. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Fascinating.
uh, there are like lots of discourse, ethical nature of it. I'm not sure. Like, but anyways, they make a lot of money from it, and for me, it was like, what the? Can I swear?
How do you, yeah, yeah. How do you own that? Is the
Yeah,
first thing.
yeah. Like,
It's like,
who the hell is owning this? Why are they owning it? And how are they making so much money off it?
yeah.
Um, and that was like my first taste of licensing, where I was thinking, hey, like this is some sort of mechanism that they've tapped into. How have they done that? And it's a company that runs very lean.
Well,
It's
if you're licensing IP, you can run lean, right? You
yeah,
don't have the overhead that
yeah,
you're operating. You're not delivering at the other end. Someone else is. So that's the advantage of licensing.
exactly, exactly. And if you put your price on your IP, then it's really just about getting the agreement signed and finding someone who will sign it. And that's what the Smiley Company does really well. I mean, that's what Disney does well. Lots of companies do well. And I think like just delving into licensing from that perspective of like actually working within Smiley, speaking to their BD managers, their lawyers, it was like, wow, this concept is like fundamentally so important for a creator, for someone who owns IP or creates valuable IP, which happens on a daily basis with social media, artists, musicians. They should have access to licensing. The idea of owning your creation while also commercializing it seems like a pretty logical thing, but it's just not the case. Like initially, we saw it in the music industry where there would be these 360 licensing deals where basically for your lifetime they would take all your creative IP, um, and then someone like Michael Jackson would come back years later and buy it back off them. Um,
In the early stages of any industry, especially, you see that happening. And even in the early stages of startups, you saw that a lot of the investors got a heavy hand and better ownership, so they had better outcomes for them, and that shifts over time because people realise there's no fairness in that, and then you slow the early industry. Generally, the people with the money make most of the money, and then it starts to get tapered down and figured out, and there's a balance that comes.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think it's like from the outside, we can say, the balance comes. And then from my perspective, it's like, well, it doesn't come unless people like
Someone
us.
helps the balance come,
Yeah,
yeah, pushes
someone's
the
got to
balance.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And licensing has been something that which has been for the top 1% for decades. And it's not really showing a sign of going down. I mean, you can see with the advent of AI, someone like OpenAI can really utilize creative IP, not really asking for permission, and I mean, I'm a victim of it knowingly and willingly because I'll ask ChatGPT anything. But it's that like construct which has been built, which I want to break down, and I think social media is the place to start for us. It's a place where agreements and deals are relatively simpler. It's a place where the volume is really high, so they're doing lots and lots of deals. Um, and maybe it's luck, but talent managers just generally waste a lot of time doing administrative stuff, and their workload is massive. And we can serve that through not even a licensing solution, just through simple software. like for context, they're using WhatsApp, DocuSign, Monday.com, and Outlook. That's their tech stack.
Yeah. They might have a CRM, I imagine, or nothing. No sales sort of CRM, sort of
So
probably
there's a
little
couple of
deals.
competitors,
Yeah.
like in the US,
Yeah.
no incumbents,
Okay.
and it's like this disjointed process where they're actually paying a lot more to have all these like 5 or 6 softwares in one.
Got it.
It doesn't serve social media managers. Like
Yeah.
the workflows are inherently very different. It's
Yeah.
actually a question I got from a VC. Like, is the workflow for a talent manager that drastically different that they need a specialized CRM, or do the current tech stack
It's an
work?
interesting question. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great question. It's a great question, and
Yeah.
like I have the pushback for it, of course, and I think we have great traction on the conversations, and we have letters of intent. Talent managers are really frustrated by the processes, and they want a solution, but it's the type of question which, like, only time will tell.
Yeah. You
We
still
need
need
to
to
make
prove the
sales.
outcome. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. I'm going to take you back into the time we decided to join Antler. Did you have the concept then, or did you walk in? Oh, I want to do something in the world of IP protection. Where did you start when you went into Antler?
So I walked in with a very fair idea that I wanted to make licensing more accessible. And before joining Antler, I had kind of tried, like, run into lots of roadblocks. Made, I think I've got like 10 or 11 pitch decks, like minor changes, and every time it's like this is the one, and so I knew what I wanted to do for sure, and it was just like Antler's process really helped me, and I give them a lot of credit for it in the way that I really had to understand that as CEO, I'm the sales guy, and I need to make my life easier. And the way I make it easier is by solving a problem that people are facing now, by having a customer which is specific, which we know exists and we know how to reach. And then, like, once I can do that, this wider vision can be achieved, but like really whittling it down to like a problem statement, which we found in social media was important for us. And joining Antler, I think I didn't have a co-founder until my 6th or 7th week. So
Okay. Oh, it's a
usually,
marriage, right? You're you're trying to find a partner in crime,
yeah,
which
yeah,
can take sometimes 6 to 7 weeks. I feel like it's still a mad rush. Yeah.
it is actually. I mean, in hindsight, it was like it's a difficult process because every day is like quite packed, and so it feels like a lot longer during the time. And I think the reason I couldn't really find a co-founder was because I wasn't really tight on my problem. And I think it's very easy to sell people on the idea of IP licensing, but then as a startup, you have to sell people on the idea of your next 6 months will be positive. And so it took me some time to get there, and I'm really glad I took that time as well. Yeah, not to talk shit about any other startups or anything in the space, but like you'll find in Antler, in a lot of accelerators, they're kind of trying to justify funding rather than like actually justifying the business and understanding that.
That's one of my pet hates around
Yeah,
the whole ecosystem. I said it off air. We've been in business for 16 years, mostly service, but we've got a couple of products that we also operate and built over the time, 100% bootstrapped, which you can wear with a different hat. And I've been around the ecosystem of funding, but not really done it myself. So I've got a different perspective, and it's more of a business perspective. If you can't make money out of something, there's a problem. If you think the next raise is going to get you to the next raise, there's a problem in my mind, because the reality is we need to make a business model. We need to really add value. Do you want to own 1% of a $100 million company, or would you prefer to own 50% of a $10, $20 million company that's got good revenue, good profit, and the $100 million company doesn't make any money? I feel like people get a bit lost in the chasing of the capital in this space. It's like let's just chase capital. It's a tough one because you do need some capital, but there's other ways to get capital too. I feel like people get a little bit lost in the it's from a VC or it's from an investor. I can tell you a story how we got capital for one of our businesses. We our pharmacy products that services now over 1,000 pharmacies in the space. Our capital came from our first customer. They were our first investor, were they not? They paid for a service, and we built a model where you're going to get a product at a discounted rate, and we're going to own the IP. And then we gave them a bit of a royalty for a period of time. That was how we funded that product. We didn't have the capital to fund it, and so we thought differently. There are many ways to do this. It's not just about chasing the VC money, but some products need to do that because it just depends on the product and the time. But I think like a lot of people get stuck in that's the only way to get a product to market. So yeah, that's a good point that you raised in terms of what happened in Antler and what you saw.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, so the reasons why I wanted to do Antler and why I wanted VC money is the very simple answer is I believe if we can solve this problem, we're a multi-billion-dollar company. We spoke before off air where you said like, oh, who could be your customer? And it's everyone. It's anyone who makes something creative, and it's any business who wants to use something creative. And we're building infrastructure for those transactions. So like,
I feel like I'll push back on that a little bit because
Sure.
that's my job as the guy directing the podcast. We can be everything to anyone, right? But if we try to be, we're going to be nothing to nobody. That's the reality. I've done this in business where I just sell to everyone. And the reality is you've got to pick a market, own that market, and that market's probably big enough for you to really solve core problems. And I think you got down to that. It's talent managers. That's where we're going to go after. Great. Your product for talent managers is not going to serve the end creative, in my mind. Maybe it can in one point, but then your talent management product is going to be, how do I stay in touch with my creatives? How do I keep them important? How do I keep the funnel opened up so I can connect my creatives? Maybe how do I build a marketplace that enables me to, here's my pool of creatives, here's my pool of people that are looking for stuff, and then how do I connect the two? How do I negotiate? It's a very different model. It's a different product. There's different opportunity there. If that's one problem, one customer, great place to start. And you can do that for 5-10 years potentially and just solve for that. In terms of everything to everyone, I feel like a lot of people go down that path and then they don't deliver anything. So yeah, really good to try and be everything to everyone, but probably not early days, I'd say.
yeah, of course, of course. I mean, this is our long-term plan, and this is kind of the vision that I come in with, and time will tell. Time will really tell whether we reach that vision, whether we even get close. What gives me confidence is that what we're building even today
Yes.
holds credence to that vision. Like it will be a part of that, allowing licensing transactions to be faster and easier, and helping talent managers who do these transactions is a good start for us. But yeah, I mean, like our vision is big, and I think it kind of has to be for what we're doing and for the space we're in, where
We can have a big vision, but I wouldn't promote, like from my perspective and learning, I wouldn't promote that on our website.
of
You got
course
to
not. Yeah,
talk to talent managers, and this is what we saw for you. And I think people can get plaster their big vision on a website. They're nothing to nobody. It's hard to market. You've got to understand how we're going to do that. So, yeah,
of
interesting.
course. Yeah.
Let's dig into how you found your co-founder, because that piece there. So, what stuck home in terms of your co-founder joining you and coming on this journey? Because it's a marriage. You're connected now. For the whole journey, however long that might be. This could be a 20-year journey. It could be an exit in 12 months, 24 months. We don't know where it's going to take us, really. So what was the thing that really connected the two of you?
So I found him on the Y Combinator founder directory
Okay.
while I was at Antler, and he was based in Melbourne while I was in Melbourne for the program, which made it really good. We had a couple of meetings, um, kind of just throwing things around, telling about my experience. And Nagendra is a really experienced entrepreneur. He's done startups 6 times.
Oh, wow.
So it's a
Yep.
little different to me. And I
It's good
think
to have that around you though, because you can trials and tribulations to start. It's good to have someone that's experienced it before.
for sure. And um, there's like the old saying of the guy who failed probably knows a lot more about how to be successful. They have that experience. They know what not to do. They kind of look back at failures a lot deeper than people look back at the success. And I think Nagendra also has a success as well, which is awesome. And I think what he appreciated from me, and I think where that connection lied, was that um, I was very quick to throw things out, very quick to invalidate. Um, I wasn't like extremely passionate about anything, and I think for someone who's had so many experiences with startups, they kind of see that like once you have an emotional attachment to something, you're pushing a rock up a hill a little bit. Whereas like I was thinking a lot more just statistically on our customer conversations, through our validation. Are we getting letters of intent where people are putting the number of how much they wanted to pay? Um, it's like that objective sense of building an idea, which I think he appreciated. And so we had lots of conversations about kind of where we could take it, and similar to the conversation we just had, you have these conversations, then you think, oh, but let's not think about that yet. Let's just think about the next 6 months now.
It's yeah, you can get lost. You got to own a vision, right? The vision has to be there because
Yep.
if we think too short term, we sort of impede our ability to sort of plan for the future. But we got to also have a vision in the future that we're attempting to get to, but how we get there might change, right? So you still need a vision. It's important, but the next 6 months is what's critical, but provided that we're building tech or building a plan that's really going to get us to that vision, which sounds like being a part of 6 startups. That's a story in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so obviously there's a bit of an age difference between the two of you, I'm imagining, unless he started when he was 12. I'm not quite sure.
It's a little
Yeah,
older.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's what I need though, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I can have at certain points, the kind of like young person's mentality that like fuck it, let's see how it goes. Um, and when you have investors, when you have employees, when you have a team, that mentality runs out of favor a little bit. It's worked till now for sure, and I think as an entrepreneur, it's important that like I still have that mindset to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But Nagendra, like, it's not just his technical expertise; it's kind of the guy who's seen it all, um, and can like really slow things down when I have a very like impatient tendency sometimes. So it's a bit of a yin yang thing we got going on.
Yeah, the impatience in startup is, I get it, but to build the type of business you're looking to build is going to take time, effort, and the ability to go roll with the punches. So yes, it's good to have impatience because we have to have it to drive outcome, and it's short term. I feel like the best founders have some impatience to them, but to be able to level set with your co-founder, I think that's a big positive that's going to drive in good stead. Because if you're both impatient, you could probably drop this in 3 months when shit gets hard because it will get hard. So you need that sort of level set in terms of how that's going to come together. That's a good little marriage there, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's awesome. I think also like our main emphasis has always been customer conversations. Like I don't necessarily just like throw him a feature that I think we should build. It's a lot more like these are the 5 conversations we've had. This is the theme. This is the statistics, and then we get a customer on a call. We talk to them, and I think this it slows us down in the short term, but in the long term, it's
Holds
massive.
in good stead because then
Yeah,
you're building what the customer needs rather than what you think they need.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, it's easier to build stuff. That's not the hard part. It's building the right thing. It's just the difficult part.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah,
it's what you're very experienced in, right? Like not building um, without any evidence, without any potential customers. And we've been really careful about that. The creator economy is one of those spaces where um, you can build the coolest shit and you can probably get some traction because consumers in this space are young, they're willing to try stuff.
to try something. Yeah, early
Yeah,
adopters because that's the market. They're well
yeah.
happy to try anything. Yeah,
If it's cool, like we'll give it a shot. But
yeah.
that's not necessarily what we want to do. And we're getting into the weeds of the business, the boring stuff, um, and we're confident there because we can really test whether we're solving these problems through time saved, money saved, rather than just hey, we got 1,000 users in a week. How good is this? That's not necessarily a
And then they're
scalable.
not here next month.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in terms of like, there's a key takeaway here. It's we can speak to many startups, and obviously you've been through Antler, so there's good learning and how you might approach this. Speaking to customers early, a lot of people are scared to talk about concepts and ideas and feel like if they share their idea, it's going to get stolen. But the reality is, if you're not sharing, you're not learning and evolving, and you're never really going to get to an outcome if you pretend to know the customer, unless you are the end customer and you've been in that space for 30 plus years. You could probably park yourself in a room for 3 to 6 months and then come out and then have a conversations.
Yeah.
But how have you gone about finding a good connection of people to talk to validate, to pick their brain? Where's the value for them? Because are they a part of the journey? How do you bring them on the journey? Because you need to really engage them in it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it can be seen as a bit of a numbers game. Like, do you have 15, 20 people that you're talking to? And what we find is that like you end up kind of giving them what they want, whether that's equity or money for their time. And we're pretty blessed to have this core group of 5 talent managers who are just passionate about solving the problem. We're not giving them anything in return, and like they'll be able to use our product for free.
You said blessed, but how many talent managers have you spoke to or attempted to reach out to?
Oh, there's a big difference between those two.
Yeah.
I think I've spoke to maybe 60 talent managers, like on a
Yep.
call. And how many have I attempted to reach out to? I mean, I have LinkedIn Gold,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've probably lost count of the amount of
Yeah.
messages I've
Pick
sent.
a number, pluck a number.
Oh, maybe 500.
All right, so that's what it takes to get 5 people that are. What is there? So you
Yeah.
see, the reality is, you said blessed, and I like to pair it back to what you've actually done to get there,
Cool.
because yeah. So the reality is, you made that happen. There's just 5 people. You didn't reach 5 people. And they're just, yep, the 5 people are in. There's 500 potential reach out, 60 conversations. Pair it back to 5 people that are really looking to support and be a part of the journey a little bit. That is where the effort is, right? So don't say blessed. You've made that happen.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. And talent managers, they are an undersung member of the creator economy. Like they do a lot, and they don't get a lot of credit for it. People don't really know what they do, but the reason why someone is wearing that YouTuber's merch or subscribing to that channel or following them is because of their talent managers. So I think like we've tapped into a space where a lot of them are kind of looking for someone to say, hey, like what you do is cool. It's important. Like, how can we help you? Because I think, creators have 1,000 tools to choose from. Businesses have more than 1,000 tools to choose from to do influencer marketing. But it's this supply side of influencer marketing that we're playing in, which requires us to get into the boring stuff. But I think with all jobs, right, 75% of it is pretty boring, and it's a lot of stuff which is
That's process. It's a process business, right?
yeah,
It's end to end. If you've got talent meeting, someone's willing to pay for some sort of advertising, a component of that. There's agreements in place. There's deals. There's negotiations. But in the end of it, it depends on what your business model is too. Is it just selling software? Is there a clip of it? How does it work?
yeah.
What's the vision for a business model? Are you still testing that at this stage? Because that will evolve too.
So we are we're SaaS and we're subscription SaaS to begin with. We charge a relatively smaller amount based on our competitors, which is what we have to do. We're planning our go to market in India, which
Okay.
has no competitors. There's no company doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
With India, I mean, that could change next week. But, and we have, I'm Indian, my co-founder's Indian, so we're pretty tapped into the space. We have some experience there. So
We need to go
eventually,
to where our network is. Doesn't matter what it is, because it's all about just getting an outcome, improving a market. It's a huge market if you crack that market.
exactly. And while we may not be able to charge as much as, say, an American customer or an Australian one, we can get many more customers. We can get that feedback loop started. We can build out our product much better, quicker. So, like for us as a starting point, especially with the relatively lower amount of funding that we have, our money can go a lot further in a place like India than the US or the UK or Australia. So we're confident of that, and we have some letters of intent from Indian companies as well. So like we have some go to market going, but eventually, because we're managing invoices and payments, we do want to take a clip of that. We're not there yet in terms of our product, and that's probably a plan for later. But that's where we want to go. So subscription SaaS, and then a clip of the payments.
So that's the plan. In terms of 23, what gets you up in the morning? Because in terms of being in this space, it can be exciting, right? It sucks you in a little bit in terms of the evolution, but it still needs to be methodical in the approach. It's just not just jump on the ride. We've got some money that's come in, we've been invested in, great. Now what do we do with it? I feel like that piece there is also very interesting. You've got a background, you've been in a bit of business before. That will hold you in a bit of good stead. But when you jump in, what's a day in the life of a early stage startup founder, sort of pre-early product look like?
A day in the life. I start off with maybe 5 minutes of existential dread. Um,
Interesting.
what the fuck am I doing? What are we doing? Uh, which is normal. I would rather have it. It's like it's probably like an abusive version of meditation for a founder. Um,
Love it.
and then I check my phone, and then it's like, all right, now we got a job to do. I am process driven to a certain extent. So like I've been to business school, to Cambridge. Like I've been taught all the processes that exist. However, like the process that I use and our team uses is like um, setting priorities and then attacking those priorities, and like
Just keeping it really simple.
yeah,
Yeah.
as simple as possible. Just like what do we really care about, and like let's attack that. Um, I think processes can sometimes like get you away from that, and you end up spending time building processes, and you end up spending time on things that don't really matter. Like there's a middle ground for sure, but I think at an early stage when we have no product, we're pre-product, pre-revenue. It's like, okay, our priority is to build product, and it's to build pipeline for revenue. Um,
Yep.
so
It's
like
got to be nimble in this early stage.
for sure,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Process will come as you build more hires, build more structure in the business. But early stage, it's it's just it can be a bit if you don't have like you said, a goal that you're striving to, or what are we trying to achieve, then you can become very active in the space. So that can be problematic too. So we just want to be proactive as much as we possibly can when we're driving new business.
For sure. And I think what wakes me up is the vision of licensing. I think that like that creator empowerment, like what we really want to achieve 5, 6, 7 years from now, like
Yeah.
that's the thing that really gets me up.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I see it on a daily basis. Like my girlfriend hates me for it, but I go to Kmart and I'm like, that's a licensing deal. Like that's someone's creation on that T-shirt. Like how have they done that? Why can't everyone do that? Like um, how
Yeah.
is the Brisbane Heat got that sponsor? That's a licensing deal, right? Like it's I see it so often, and it's it's kind of taken me over that like I want to make it more accessible, and I don't see anyone doing it um, well. So it's like I don't know if it's kind of like if it's arrogant to think that, but like it's just I believe it's my responsibility now because I've
Okay.
been given this trust
Yeah.
by Antler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been given this money. I've been given an amazing co-founder who I've got a great connection with. So what wakes me up is like if I don't do it, no one else will. So
Oh, nice
that's
one.
it, I think.
In terms of the creator economy, big picture, where do you see that going? Where's it been? What do you think it's going to be like in the next 10 years? It's always evolving. There's different technology, different medium coming. What are you seeing, and what sort of some of the trends in the space?
Yeah, I think the trends, on the most part, have been great. Um, People rely on influencers for their opinions on many things, sometimes things which they probably shouldn't be using for, but
Sometimes, yeah, stay away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
On consumer behavior, it's important. I think 2 out of 3 young people rely on an influencer for an opinion. My girlfriend will go shopping and she'll check on TikTok if someone's made a video about that product before buying it. And I think
it's
that's
fascinating. Yeah,
that's where
yeah,
we're going.
yeah.
I think people are engaging at a higher rate than ever before. Um, However, I do also think that it's from the conversations I've had. I'm not really watching an ad. Um, I'm skipping ads. I'm scrolling past them on my Instagram stories. If I see ad stories, there's no way I'm looking at it, even if it's something that would help me or solve my problem. So we're seeing that advertising through the platform is kind of dropping off favor. And I think now it's about you need the right people to show your brand. You need to show it in a way which is not like abrasive and just like, hey, buy this. It's a lot more like watch me do something while I'm using this. Um, and I think like that trajectory for the creator economy is awesome because it means that first of all, as a consumer of social media, you're not inundated by ads. You're given stuff that you actually kind of care about. But then also like for Pactify, the workflows and the deals behind these agreements are much more complex than what they used to be. And for a company who's smart, who wants to use influencers, they want to have a real partnership with their creator, not just paying them for a service. And I think that's what's really important in the creator economy.
Yeah, it's a fascinating space, and I feel like it's the I'll put it bluntly, it's the youth that are going to solve these problems because they're the people engaging this every day. I don't even. I'm 40. I'm an old guy in this space. I don't even have a TikTok or Instagram account. So I'm a different sort of hat. Probably I haven't really attached to those social media marketing. Haven't really gone into that world. It's fascinating. So people like yourselves are the people who are going to change it and evolve it and build it over time. And people like me are just forget about us. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I want to disagree with you, but I think yeah,
yeah.
it's a young person's problem to solve.
Yeah, I reckon it is. That's what I see it. It's not the 50-year-old who's got. He's not going to be
Yeah,
solving these problems.
yeah,
So that's how I see it. I'm probably a bit of an older hat. I never really got involved. I mean, people in their 40s are in this space, but me not so much. So it's a fascinating one. I think it's a young person's problem in my mind.
for sure, for sure. I mean, one thing which like really caught my attention was um, we're used to seeing kind of large influencers, large celebrities get the most money for a brand deal. And this over the last couple of years has changed pretty rapidly. Like a guy who's got 500,000 followers but just makes car videos is much more valuable for an auto parts company
Oh, for
than
sure he is, because that's the market. If they're following that person, watching their content,
and
they're going
I
to be able to
follow The
cut
Rock.
through.
Yeah, I follow The Rock. I follow Justin Bieber. I'm not liking their posts. I'm not reading their captions. It's just it's a celebrity, so like we gotta follow him. Whereas with those smaller scale influencers, I'm pretty engaged. Like I want to know how they're going. I want to know what they're doing in the space. They have unique ideas, and I think like this shift in the creator economy means that like the money's not just at the top 1%. It's now permeating throughout mid to large creators, and there are over 44 million creators with more than a million followers, right? So um, it's
It's
massively
a
growing.
if you think about it from that celebrity, that's mass market. That could be a 12-year-old following that celebrity. That could be a 7-year-old. That's all different demographics, all different people that could be following that level. The car guy that's got 500,000 people following them, they're interested in cars, they're interested in the type of stuff he does. So it's a very different space, and it gives brands a different place to go. I don't have to go. It's like commercials, right? TV commercials, mass market, whereas this is more poignant and direct to an actual niche market. So that gives you a different philosophy on how you might actually generate some interest in your brand. Probably get
Yeah,
conversions, I would imagine.
for sure, for sure. Just like the psychology behind it of if Justin Bieber tries a drink and tells me it's good, I probably don't trust that as much as someone who I know much better telling me
Yeah.
that it's good, right? Like I trust that person. Um,
Yes.
and I think we're getting to that point now where um, there's probably some ageism in it where like marketing teams have been run by traditional marketing people who think, all right, more eyeballs, the better. Billboards are the way to go.
Yeah.
Um,
It's all right. It's all about the right eyeballs in the end.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think we're getting to that point, and we're in the position to serve it. I hope someone solves a problem if it's not us, because I think it's an important problem. Um, and I think creators will always be a massive part of the world we live in, and I think it'll be even more important. Um, I hope my kid creates something unique and important, and I hope he can own that creation and or she, sorry, uh, and make money off it, right? And I think that's the kind of status quo we're going towards, and it's just about getting everything to fall into place.
Rahul, thank you for coming on DevReady podcast, sharing everything about Pactify. Let's catch up maybe in 12 months. Love to hear how the journey's going, because I love early stage and where you're at and the thinking behind it, the strategy. The think is grounded good. So the Antler philosophies obviously helped a bit. I've met startup founders that are early stage and just sitting behind a curtain building product, and you just encourage them to go and have a conversation. But it's a better place to come from conversations to product rather than product to conversations. It's very much harder that way. So thanks for joining us. If anyone wants to learn about more about what Pactify is doing, how do they find what you're up to and reach out?
They can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Rahul Modgill. They can check out our website, pactifyai.com. Um, and yeah, they can stay in tune. They can let me know. I can add them on our investor monthly updates, and they can figure out how we're doing. I want to stay very open on how we're working as a company because transparency is important in the space we're in. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
It also puts a bit of pressure on yourself. It's good to put some pressure on yourself by opening out what you're up to. So hats
Of
off for you for
course,
doing that.
yeah. I already have the pressure on myself enough, I think.
I can see that. Yeah, the way you're talking about it, you beat yourself up a lot.
Someone has to, right? Like, um,
Be
cool.
kind. We need to be kind to ourselves too, though. Well, thanks a lot, Will. We appreciate you coming on the DevReady podcast, and good luck with the journey. And I wish you all the best. And I know it's going to be a interesting road, lots of highs, lots of lows. But yeah, just stick to it, drive it out, and you'll get to something special.
Appreciate that, Andrew.
Cheers, mate.